Extreme Collectibles here with the Extreme Magneto Collection. I just got in XM White Magneto today, and first of all, I'm amazed. It's an awesome piece, and this is not going to be a review on XM White Magneto. I would love to do one, but I'd rather do this video instead, and I don't want to make two videos. So if you want a review on XM White Magneto, please check out Gem Mint Collectibles or Marvelous Statues. They've both done one and they're great reviews. The only things I will say about it is it's pretty awesome. It's hard as shit to put together. I actually had to look at the worthless manual. The manual was not accurate at all, but I love it. Definitely a keeper, mostly because I don't want to take it apart. But it is a great piece. So we're going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to look at 4 of my 7 Magnetos. Extreme Collectibles here with a different kind of review. As I said in the intro, I just received XM White Mags. I'm not going to review that. However, I wanted to take a look at the different Magnetos in the Extreme Collection, and not necessarily which is best, but just kind of compare them. So first of all, a disclaimer is I am not reviewing all of my Magnetos. There's a couple in there that just didn't make the running because they're not as good as these 4. Here's a collection of a picture of my current Magnetos that I have in hand. So the ones that didn't make the running are Markneto, little funny rat Magneto, Sideshow Maquette, and then Wolf Slayer. Sideshow Maquette is a good piece. It just isn't in the running with these 4. Disclaimer number 2 is I don't have all the great Magnetos out there. There are some other great Magnetos out there that are not in my collection. With that being said, I think all 4 of these are separate grails, so I'm happy to have just one. Another thing we're going to look at here is 2 of the 4 are actually custom, and not only are they custom, but they are unique customs. So we're going to cover that kind of when we talk about the introductions to each one. And then I also actually have some custom pieces for the old XM, Magneto on Throne. But I'm going to do this a little bit like a traditional review as far as categorization. So we're going to talk about concept, we're going to talk about design, we're going to talk about paint, we're going to talk about sculpt, we're just going to talk about overall. And again, this is my opinion. That's the thing that's great about statue collecting is there's a lot of times where a new piece comes up and some people trash it, some people love it, and ironically some of the people that love it don't buy it, and some of the people that trash it buy it. And some people praise it for malicious reasons, some people trash it for malicious reasons, and some people just show their genuine appreciation or unappreciation. Is that the right word? I don't know. So right here we're going to start off with what I consider 4 of the best Magnetos on the market, and we're going to talk about each one. So first of all, here is XM Magneto Throne. This is a very old piece. I want to say they made 1,000 of these, and it flips for $2,500 to $4,000 nowadays. This one is actually having a few custom pieces on it. The head and Dr. Doom mask and Wolverine mask are custom. And just so you know, we're going to look at all the switch outs too. That's going to be kind of a subcategory within a category when we talk about concept and design. So this next one back here, close up here, is RBC Magneto. This is a custom piece, and this is actually a repaint. It comes in its traditional Magneto colors, but I repainted it black, not me personally. I had a painter do that, and I absolutely love it. It's a great contrast against white Magneto, I think. And it mixes it up some. I'm a fan of Magneto, obviously. And then the one here in the middle, this is also a custom, and this is a little bit unique too. This is actually the prototype of the custom. I think they're just shipping now, so a lot of collectors are going to have it in hand. But had this piece for about a year, and I absolutely love it. And then last is XM's newest Magneto, Magneto in the white costume. Just got him in today, still kind of absorbing how great he is. He's pretty awesome. So really cool pieces. So these 2 are truly one of a kind. These 2 I think both are an ES of 1000. and I'm going to be surprised if this isn't flipping for more down the road really quickly here. I can't believe so many people are giving it up, and it doesn't take up as much room as I thought it would. I mean, if you look at the back three, it takes up less room than these two. So, but we'll talk about that with concept and design. Another thing with all these, again, the third disclaimer, this is just my opinion, guys. So if you disagree with me, great, go ahead and comment that. And my kids are running around upstairs again. I guess, I don't know, because during the day I'm not here, but they just wait. They wait for me to start filming. So first category I want to look at of all of these is concept. So when we talk about concept, we're like, what did they do with the Magneto? And so first I'm going to kind of break it down. We have Magneto on throne, the original XM piece here. He made a throne out of a Sentinel hand, and he's holding some of his vanquished trophies, kind of the end of the world. On a side note too, I'm not going to do a ton of close-ups, because if you want to see any of these reviewed up close, with the exception of XM Magneto, both of those, I don't have reviews on those. But as I said, if you want to see XM White Magneto, go check out Gem Mint or Marvelous Statues. XM Magneto on Throne, eventually I'll probably review, but I have reviewed these two pieces, so go check that out on a channel. So anyway, back to the concept on the original XM Magneto on Throne. Really, really cool. He's kind of, most Throne pieces, they vanquish their enemies. It's the end of the world. And I think XM was really unique at that time, and now that's kind of the rage with other characters. So really cool concept on that. This custom black Magneto, so first of all, it's his black costume, which he wore briefly when he was actually turning good. It doesn't really flow with the statue, because the base is kind of a World War II or Civil War or World War I, some type of old war. But in this one, traditionally, whether it's the black costume or the purple costume, he's kind of destroyed some players. Really makes you think of World War II, the 1940s, some of the helmets that are around, some of the decoration, and he's showing off his power. And one really cool thing about this concept, I believe it was one of the first successful flying statues. So it really makes him look like he's flying. There are some leaning issues that we have an extra peg to support it, so it doesn't do that. But I think when it came out, really unique, just like the XM Magneto on Throne, kind of unique take that he was flying. Because as we move on to the next two, you'll see that they're also flying. It's kind of the thing with Magneto now. People really want to make him look like he's flying. This one in the middle, couple really cool concept things. So it is these X-Men versus Sentinel type aspect going on. And maybe this is Master Mole's hand. This is a huge Sentinel. He's destroyed it. He's ripped the parts out. And kind of like the XM Magneto, there's parts of his trophies everywhere. You have Wolverine's skeleton. You have Professor X's Cerebro helmet. You have his wheelchair right here. And there's this really cool X he kind of did. It reminds me of the end of X-Men Apocalypse. When Magneto stopped Apocalypse, he kind of threw down this X, which looks like XM did something very similar. And there's all these guns and stuff like that stuck to it. So really showing his power. His pose, I think, is awesome on this. He actually comes with two torsos. This one, he's kind of pushing forward, stopping whoever's coming at him. And his cape's flowing backwards. His other torso, he's like kind of what's up, which we will look at in a second. And I think this one really shows off Magneto's power. That's where the concept is really cool on this middle one. And kind of similarly on the white XM Magneto, so it's his white costume again when he kind of joined forces with the X-Men, was going on a good term. A lot of similar elements to this custom that came out first, where he's holding guns and showing his power, stopping a missile. There's a tank that he's destroyed and ripped together. So you see elements from the first two customs kind of put together. But I think one place where they really knocked this out of the park and a really unique concept is he's truly flying. His feet are not on anything. And I think that's just an awesome job, which is actually a little bit more about design, which we're going to jump right into. However, before we jump into design, I do want to talk about which one I think has the best concept. If I had to vote on one, I would just say the original XM Magneto on Throne. I think that that's just a badass concept. He destroyed his enemy. He's using it as a throne. You see a lot more throne pieces like that coming out, like the Halima Hulk on Throne, the Deadpool Kills the Universe, the Loki, custom Loki on Throne I reviewed. All of the enemies are kind of like that. And I really love how some of the custom pieces add to that. So speaking of which, let's look at the switch outs now just to show what it has. So here's the up close of XM Magneto on Throne. This is an older head, also holding Cerebro's helmet, and then has a Wolverine head and a Magneto helmet. And then also available is a younger head, as you see here, a masked head, and then he can actually hold up Cerebro's helmet like it's floating. So that's for the old XM Magneto. A lot of switch outs with the customs. This custom Magneto just had switch out heads. One of them is the black, or the helmeted head right here. One is where he has whited out eyes, and one they're not whited out. And then he has unhelmeted portraits just the same. You can see them right here, and a little bit different smirk on them. I'm not a fan of these unhelmeted portraits. Then this middle custom here, so he has 4 heads, 2 torsos, 2 capes, and all the heads also light up, which I think it's the only Magneto of the 4 we're looking at that light up. So that's a really, really cool feature. So he has the one here where he's screaming his power, mouth open, helmet on. Then he also has that same screaming his power with his helmet off. More of a smug, serene helmet off. And then that exact same thing with his helmet on. And you see here's the other torso I was talking about. He's kind of like, what's up? And then this cape right here, it goes straight down. So kind of imagine it just going straight down from here. To me, it doesn't show as much power. And then the white Magneto has tons of switch outs. So first, you see the different portraits. These are the unmasked. One's a bald. One's just the normal Magneto with the weird ass child molester smile. Then you can switch out his right arm so it's just a fist. His left arm, instead of stopping the missile, it can hold a bunch of guns together. So if you haven't seen that in the reviews, essentially you can, instead of him stopping this missile, and you can put a plate right here, he's holding 2 of these, one with each hand. So those are all the switch outs in the concept. So let's talk about the design. Again, this is where I really think white Magneto takes it, just because he's floating without his feet on anything. He's actually hooked in through his waist. So I really like whenever they do a design of it, makes it look like he's holding something that's floating. So you'll see that evident in the white Magneto. You'll see that in a few other custom Magnetos. You'll see it in the XM Magneto, where he's making something levitate. The custom black Magneto here, he has metal pieces that are floating on his cape, on the poles on the back. Really, really neat. And the design is just fantastic. One cool thing with some of the options you have here is all of these poles in the back are removable. However, the base on this black Magneto is still way too big. They should have cut down on that because it takes up so much space. So that's one issue with the custom Magneto here. The XM Magneto in front, one design issue is it's not as big as other quarter scale pieces. It's probably closer to 1 1/5, or somewhere in between 1/4 and 1/5. So I think that's a big flaw. This guy in the middle, you can also remove the back. However, the base is still huge. So I think the problem with this Magneto is it has to be a centerpiece, which I think it's worthy of being a centerpiece, but it has to be a centerpiece because it's so big. So when it comes to design, and I'm going to have to give it to the white Magneto just because of that flying factor. I think that's one wins the case there. Also, I do want to apologize. I'm kind of rambling. I wasn't even planning to do this review. I really didn't want to review white Magneto because everyone else had, so I'm just throwing this together. So I don't know how many people are going to watch it anyway. But next, let's talk about paint. And this is a difficult one because 2 of these are factory paint and 2 of these are custom paint by amazing painters. So I'm not talking about the concept. I'm not talking about the fact this is a black Magneto, this is a white Magneto. I'm so racist. I'm just talking about who did the absolute best paint job. And for me, obviously, it instantly goes to one of the custom pieces. However, I think the factory paint on both of the license pieces from XM is really, really good. I think they did an awesome job. The contrast, the depths, there's not really too much going on. I like both the white and black. It's not boring, even though it's, you know, all one color or variations of one color. So that's really, really cool. Paint, it's a close toss-up, but I have to go with the custom Magneto in the middle. I think it's just flawlessly done. It was done by Carlos. This one was done by Jason. Both fantastic pieces, but I think Carlos takes it. Really, really good job. Some of the guns, if you look at, there's detail on the triggers. So he probably had more of an opportunity to paint on this, where there wasn't as much going on. And on a side note, Jason just painted Magneto. He didn't repaint the base for me. So Sculpt. Let's talk about Sculpt. First of all, these are all winners. These are all awesome Sculpt. They have awesome anatomy. They have great texturing on the suit where it needs to be. All the capes, all the capes are sculpted. The flow of them is awesome. In the uniform, there's ripples, there's creases, there's folds. All of these are fantastic sculpts. The base, it just blows me away. If I had to pick the sculpt I like the best, it's probably the custom Magneto in the middle, because it shows more of a fit, muscular Magneto, but it's not overbearing. There's just so much more detail in the suit and the muscle just going on. It is just awesome. To me, this is the best Magneto. It may not be the best base though. When we talk about best base, I probably have to go with the XM Throne one. The sculpt on the Sentinel hand just knocks it out of the park. So, and the other bases are excellent as well. I mean, they all are excellent. So, but yeah, so that's a quick version of, as quick as I could, my take on all these. So, Mr. X, which one is your favorite? I don't think I'll ever sell any of them, to be honest with you, unless I get out of the game. But if I was gonna sell one, I wouldn't sell any of them. I'm just being honest with you. My favorite is the one in the middle. Because it shows that power. I'm a big fan of Magneto. I think he's one of the coolest, most powerful mutants. He reminds me of what it would like to be able to control the Force, like in Star Wars. And I think the one in the middle just hits everything I want on it. Plus, it'll go with all my Sentinel pieces better than this one will in regards to scale. So all fantastic pieces. I'd be happy just to own one of them. So really appreciate you guys watching. Let me know which one of these four is your favorite, or if one I didn't talk about is your favorite. Also, just so you guys know, I have 5 more Magnetos coming. So a couple Franco ones. Franco sculpted the one in the middle here. Really excited, yeah. So I need to find a better place to put my Magnetos. It's kind of just a temporary spot that you saw earlier. So really appreciate you watching. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I get kick-ass statues like this all the time. I think today I had to pay 5 shippings, and I think all of them but one were custom. So a lot coming up. Gonna try and drop this tonight. Depends how long it takes to edit it. And thanks so much, guys. Take care.